Hello, welcome to my section in the International Forum for Peer Learning. Today, I will share my experience, how we may benefit from peer-assisted learning. There will be some literature that I will review, and then problem statement and motivation for this study, and we'll focus on present study with practical implications. As this has been discussed in the literature, reciprocal learning activity is considered as a peer learning activity because students learn from each other when they are presenting, even when they are learning. And the benefits includes the learning outcomes can be better, and also students may have higher self-esteem and higher interpersonal skills, and also greater understanding of the context they are studying. Instead of peer learning, there are different terms that has been used and as has been highlighted recently as well. For example, near peer teaching, near peer mentoring, mentoring, peer assisted teaching, peer tutoring. In this talk, I will use peer learning and peer assisted learning interchangeably with the same meaning. And the highlight is students are learning from each other. The benefits also include the knowledge and skills can be reinforced further, and also student collaboration because they are teaching to each other, they are learning together, and they may be more motivated with the feedback even by their classmates, not only by the teacher. In addition, personalized learning experience can be a good dimension here because students can be more autonomous when peer learning is applied. In the present study, my focus will be vocational English that I have been assigned to in the fall, in the at the end of the September, which is over now, in the Faculty of Veterinary Science, and I will continue in the second term. So the teaching context will include students in the veterinary science and also vocational English. In peer learning, in this presentation, my focus will be on the pedagogical dimensions as a kind of reflection of inductive teaching methods in the context of peer-assisted learning. So, in light of the literature, I have followed these three stages. The first one is preparation, and the second one is what did I do during the peer learning, and then what I did when the peer learning was over. I have prepared this stage in light of the medical education I have studied for certification, and these steps, the stages are recommended in literature. The first stage is preparation. So here I will mention about the problem statement and also motivation for this study. My audience are students in the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine, and the issue is that until online learning, I didn't have any responsibility in this faculty because when you teach vocational English, the culture is also important, the atmosphere and the nature of the other content courses in the department. However, I was lack of content knowledge and I was not familiar with their curriculum. That's why this was a kind of problem that I should deal with. And now I will describe how peer-assisted learning helped me to overcome this situation and even with some positive outcomes. And here it was an elective course, vocational English, in the Faculty of Veterinary Science Medicine at a state university. As I have highlighted, I wasn't familiar with the cultural department, and also I wasn't aware of the students' English proficiency and also their nature because this pandemic occurred, more than 1 year passed, and at that time the students were when pandemic occurred, the students were in the prep classes, so it was online teaching. I didn't know how effective it was, I was lack of not only the culture of the department's statue, but also students' English proficiency knowledge. And my aim was to foster learner autonomy and teamwork, and also to learn more about students. I said them that, okay, we will teach to each other in some activities in the course. And my expectation during online teaching was that being sincere and being honest so that we can move effectively. I don't expect them to be more hardworking, but to be friendly, to create a friendly atmosphere. I wanted them to ask their questions when they have, or to give feedback when they want in a constructive way to each other. So in the preparation stage, the most important part to me was creating and embracing teaching mood, given that we can't see the students face to face and we are not in a class but online class. And then the second challenge I encountered was course materials. Yes, this is the issue. Uh, as the literature highlights, as Streven noted in 1977, ESP course materials can be realistic, relevant, interesting, encouraging, and compatible. That's why I have tried to prepare materials. How I have prepared them, for example, current research articles that I assume that they may take my students' interest. For example, look at the title from Nature, the journal Nature, Dogs Can Sniff Out COVID. Indeed, when students read this, they said that, oh, they have heard about some news on the TV, but they have read a research article on this primary research. And then how animals may adapt between seasons, and when we should nurture the dogs to avoid health risk. These were the topics that I assumed that students may be interested in. They were all current publications, research articles, and it worked indeed. After after reading and discussing a few research articles in vocational English and studying some idioms, I asked students to use peer learning, and I have assigned them some roles to present in the following hours, in the following weeks. And they asked me which topic they will discuss, and I said, okay, decide on your own, according to your interest, according to what your friends may benefit. And so this facilitated each other's learning in their own outlook on veterinary sciences because they have chosen the topics for a small talk, and they all were recorded as a video just in case they want to listen again or they may benefit. And also, slides that students have prepared has been shared with their classmates. For example, one of the students has chosen the topics of cats' behavior. Until my student's choice, I haven't even assumed that cat's behavior or animal behavior can be good topic. Indeed, it is very interesting and good. And students also use some visuals. And because they are studying veterinary medicine, their topic choice was a little different. For example, I only focused on the current research articles. I couldn't guess that cat's behavior could be a good topic to discuss. So it was one of my limitations when I am designing the course materials, but students completed me. And also, the course was more enjoyable because it was funny with some funny visuals, cat's behavior, nail biting, paving it water, putting it cones on your face, eating, begging for food, ignoring it, and chewing plants. So, as you can see from here, students prepared the presentation, their talk, in light of the literature, but also they have highlighted the relevant words, and sometimes they define them. And the presentations were accompanied by the visuals, very attractive photos. Another student have focused on more scientific information, including Pateline dog. Another student focused on several health problems, including seizure, meningitis, and convulsion. And so students in the classroom become familiar with their daily behavior of cats and also scientific information, including patella, health problems, and new therapy methods such as PET laser therapy, immune diseases, and worse terms in veterinary medicine. So in this slide, you can see the choice of students in the veterinary science, and these topics have been chosen by them in peer learning process. And look at my choices here in the previous slide. Dogs can sniff out COVID, maybe how animals adapt between seasons, when should be nature. So as you can see the difference, I focused on the current scientific publications, but look at the students, how they have enriched the course. Its behavior, patella, and also new therapy methods such as PET laser therapy. As we can see, when the courses are accompanied with peer learning, we can not only uh, provide a teaching atmosphere for learning, but also sharing their interest and also different outlook of curriculum development. Okay, what did I did during the peer learning? I have provided feedback using chat box, like well done, good, and sometimes explain the vocabulary, the words. Some of the students might have asked or they have written using chat box. And also I provided the link to have their feedback. And as you can see here, feedback was collected for the presentations, a kind of reflections and comment. I have chosen the first presentation's feedback. Anonymity was preserved, so Teresa and Nigel here are nicknames. Teresa's presentation was highly enjoyable. This is a reflection from Teresa's classmate. The presentation included summaries from our daily life, indeed, with animals, cats, biting, pawing at water. Nigel's presentation was scientific. As you can see, although Teresa and Nigel didn't know what each other will present, we have noticed that on the same day, Teresa chose a topic on daily life and cat's behavior. Nigel's choice was on scientific methods in maths. So, as you can see, they accompanied each other. The presentations were about our specialty, and I liked them because it's invocation. It is an activity invocation English. All the words and all the content was in veterinary science. And here another feedback, interesting, informative, enjoying. Thanks to Teresa and for the effort for their presentation and also information they have shared. As you can see, amazing, enjoyed watching them. As you can see here, one of the feedback was watching them because some of the students, when students cannot attend the course, they are following the courses using the video record. I assume that the student watched using video, and I appreciate my friends' efforts and thank them very much for their good job. Again, presentation was so cute and I enjoyed watching, and also Nigel's presentation was nice. It was very informative. And again, as you can see, how visuals and how the student's presentation may make the knowledge in a very enjoyable way and also very colorful way. Okay, so during peer learning activity, I monitor the progress of online class and check whether the work was performed during activities and attend to facilitate their role. As you can see here, I wasn't familiar with the culture of the discipline, but benefited from the current research articles and also how peer learning activity facilitated my role and also made the students happy. So in this process, peer assisting teaching approach helped me to observe my students, and now I am familiar with their interests and their nature and also their behavior and reactions. So in this present study, as far as I have observed, peer learning activities improved the active participation of the students during online education because They were all ears when their classmate was presenting. Sometimes they have provided constructive feedback. Sometimes they raised their question using chat box and also echoed what students' scientific interest in their field of study and provided an opportunity to share with their classmates. So thanks to the peer learning now, I am familiar with the disciplinary culture and also nature of the students. In addition, we can see that students' content knowledge is improved and also mine. It is a kind of mutually beneficial process. Not only students were learning from each other, but also I was learning from the students. It should be highlighted in peer learning, especially in vocational English maybe in the future. So I can see from this process that the peer learning process also develop their skills and organization planning learning activities. They were collaborative with others through giving and receiving feedback and evaluated their own learning in light of feedback which has been given without their names. And also, as we have discussed, a kind of scaffolding environment for this study is important because when students are encouraged to have to share their opinion, they become very happy as far as I've observed. So all in all, I can say that peer learning activity affected communication and collaboration and also reduced my stress because, okay, I'm aware of the animals, but I didn't have very specific detailed information about animals or how I can prepare the curriculum, what to include, what to exclude. So students' presentation helped me in a sense to tailor the topic and through fostering their active participation. A good step, peer learning also can be considered as a kind of good step to forget competition, but for collaboration to scaffold classmates as future colleagues. These are my references. And I'm very thankful to students who participated actively during the learning process. And thank you for your participation. Comments and questions are welcome. Stay safe, stay well, stay happy during COVID-19 pandemic.